So you Hebrew Israelites don't understand. As a matter of fact, you miss the understanding of the foreshadowing that's taking place in Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 through 28. You see where Yeshua says, I was sent for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And you park right there, not understanding that that was a prophecy that Yeshua was fulfilling, because God already prophesied that Yeshua would come to his nation. But in that same passage, we see where God healed the woman, which is a foreshadow that God would extend. He has always been doing this. God has always been showing us that he is for the other nation too. But this passage right here draws out the woman's faith, right? But Yeshua and God has always, or let me say this, God has always used Israel to draw all nations, all mankind. How do we know this? Well, let's go back for a second. He came to his own, but his own did not receive him. Many, the bulk of Hebrew Israelites, rejected Yeshua as Lord and Messiah. This was also prophesied in the Old Testament days, that they would reject Yeshua Jesus. So Yeshua had to come and fulfill what was told way back when. And the Hebrew Israelites seems to have a screw that's lost in their head. The other nation has always been a part of Israel, always been a part of Israel, because God had a plan and a purpose from the beginning of time. When he created mankind, God created mankind to have fellowship with him, as we see it in the Garden of Eden, that God walked in the cool of the day with mankind. But because mankind sinned, sin became a problem between God and man. But God's intention has always been, and will continue to have fellowship with mankind. But Israel had to be the centerpiece to draw all mankind. God used Israel. And this is where you Hebrew Israelites fail to understand. Hebrew Nicodemites fail to understand that these things are foreshadowed. Go back to the garden. Sin separated mankind from God and man. But yet God still, even mankind was expelled from the garden. We saw that in the second generation, Cain and Abel, where God set up his ordinances of sacrifice. And even when one brother got it right and the other brother got it wrong, God approached the other brother that had gotten it wrong. And we talk about God is not concerned about the other nations, where there's a lesson to be learned when Yeshua went to Cain before Cain fell and addressed Cain's issue and try to get Cain to do the right thing. Matter of fact, the text says that if you had done well to Cain, this is after mankind was kicked out of the Garden of Eden. This is after mankind inherited the sin nature from his father, that God still had fellowship with man. And we see as things progress, God destroyed the world because of what? Because the sin began to fester. And men began to remove further and further away. But the intention of God has always been, it never changed, to fellowship with mankind. So he started the world. He destroyed the world because of sin and started the world over again. And he used Israel, the centerpiece, to draw all men. Here's another foreshadowing of what I'm talking about. Matthew 15. The first mention of circumcision we saw where the Mosai told Abraham to circumcise all the male child. At this point, Israel wasn't born yet. Isaac wasn't born yet. But the foreshadow has always been there. Strangers have always been a part of Israel. Check the record. You think this is a coincidence that God said circumcise all the male child in your household? Yes. Isaac was the center. But Isaac was the center, but the other nations were there. Go check the records. Okay, another thing. When Yeshua told Abraham that he was going to be in captivity 400 years in Egypt, but you will come out of Egypt, nothing of the other nation was made mention. Yet what happened? Other nations left Israel right along. Other nation left Egypt right along with Israel. You think this is an accident? It's not an accident, people. God was fulfilling what he ordered, his original plan. What was his original plan? To have fellowship with mankind. He just used Israel, a priest. All the nation of Israel is a priest according to the scriptures. What does a priest do? A priest stand between God and man to make intercession. If Israel is all priests, then what is Israel's job? It's to stand and make intercession. Did not the scripture tell us that when the nation see Israel serving God, they're going to want to join to worship God too? Do you think that this is a coincidence, my peoples? No, it is not. The strangers has always been a part of Israel. When the Most High gave Solomon his wisdom, what did the scripture says? A mere man. How much more God? Every other nation came out to seek his wisdom. When Solomon resurrected the temple, he prayed for Israel, all Israel. And then he said, and if the strangers wish to come to this place and pray, hear the strangers, for all people of the earth, where have we heard this from? All people. Abraham was a nation. Israel was a single nation of people. And the promise to Abraham was that Abraham was going to be a great nation. Remember this? But in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed because of you, Abraham. This is going back to Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and going back to the original plan that God set out to have fellowship with mankind. So no, Hebrew Israelites, no, you got it wrong. Yeshua being sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel was only one part of his mission. His entire mission is for the world. Go back and check the history. You will see that God always desired fellowship with mankind, but he used Israel as the centerpiece to draw mankind back to him. Go back and check the records, and you will see that I'm not up here playing games. My peoples, love, like, and share this video. Somebody's got to hear this video, my people. Somebody got to hear the message that Yeshua is not just for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but he is to all nations. Send the video, my peoples. Send out the video. Let them know.